Today's goal was simple, getting Masky to level 75 with the Merchant Alliance. We decided to do Lost Shipwreck voyages as they give a lot of crates that can be handed in for a nice chunk of reputation. He was already at 74, close to 75, so we would likely only need a couple of them to get him there. We stocked up our ship, put a voyage on the table, and set sail. Within just a couple of minutes of leaving the docks, we were already targeted by Megalodon. Usually we kill these off pretty fast, but this one took a little bit longer to defeat than I'd like to admit. Finally, the shark had been defeated. We quickly repaired the damages our ship had sustained, harpooned the Megalodon loot out of the water, and continued the voyage. Not too long thereafter, we found our first clue to the location of the shipwreck floating around in a barrel, along with the key to its captain's quarters. A few moments later, we spotted another sloop. It was sailing under an emissary flag just like us. Masky raised our alliance flag in the top of our mast, then continued to tilt our cannons straight up. Most people in the community see this as a signal that we have no intention of using them. As they approached us, I launched myself out in the water to try and communicate. Hello, do you want to make an alliance? We are also merchants, we're just doing a simple voyage, looking for a shipwreck. Do you want to be friends? Oh, please give us free gold. Join the alliance. We want free gold, please. No. It seemed like his crewmate had understood the situation at least. If they didn't join the alliance, would most likely turn around to sink them. They literally just told us that they were carrying a whole voyage worth of loot on their ship. After what seemed to be a bit of a tug-of-war between the two, they finally joined the alliance. Probably a smart choice. And just as the gold started trickling in from our new allies selling their loot, we spotted a shipwreck. Sadly, however, it would prove to be a different one from the one we were looking for in our voyage. After some more searching, we'd found more clues to the whereabouts of the sunken vessel holding cargo. We now had enough to go on to figure out where it was. On our way there, we spotted another sloop over at Devil's Ridge, which was currently the host island for an Ashen Winds event. This is when I had a plan. A plan that would potentially give us both our own treasure and some more treasure that wasn't our own. First of all, we secured all the crates from the wreck. Masky then proceeded to the closest outpost to sell it all, while I launched over to a nearby inactive skeleton fortress. I needed explosives and a rowboat. My plan was in motion. As I got closer, I noticed that this sloop didn't have a rowboat docked to it. This would be my way in. I quickly brought one of the kegs up into the crow's nest and hid. Then the perfect opportunity presented itself. The other player was suddenly engulfed in a giant cloud of smoke emitted from the boss. This was it. I grabbed the remaining 2 kegs from the rowboat and spread them out to deal as much damage to his ship as possible. Then I went back up into the crow's nest and waited for the time to strike. The boss had been defeated. This was my cue. I lit my keg, dropped it down onto the deck of the ship and jumped into the water. Just as planned, the explosion hit the other 2 kegs I'd planted. As I emerged to the surface, I could hear the sloop behind me being consumed by both flame and water. It was rapidly sinking. I managed to finish off the poor pirate on the beach with a couple of sniper shots. My plan had worked. Now all I needed to do was to collect the loot and wait for Masky to come pick me up. Or so I thought, until I spotted the sloop once again on the horizon, headed straight for us. Unfortunately for him, he was under attack by a kraken. I decided to make use of the rowboat one final time. The timing was almost too perfect. I made it there just as he managed to slip out of the kraken's black water. Hello? I forgot to give you this. Sorry. I was severely injured but was lucky enough to have just barely survived the blast. I boarded his ship once more to secure the sink. Another successful rowboat mission. This guy probably wasn't going to be a threat anymore. Returned to the ship just as Masky docked it at an outpost. We sold the additional crates we had stolen to the Merchant Alliance, then continued to Reaper's hideout to sell everything else there. We had arrived. With no other ship in sight, we dropped our anchor close to the island and started selling our loot. Suddenly, Masky called out that there was a ship very close to us. Could this really be the pirate from earlier coming back? Again? I have to say, I did not expect this level of determination. The same player had returned in an attempt to sink our ship and take back what little loot remained of what we had once stolen from him. However, that didn't stop us from taking control of his ship and crashing it into the island. Repeatedly. Now, this guy may not have won any battles so far, but I seriously gotta give him credit for at least trying, instead of leaving the server like most people probably would have at this point. Masky guarded the ship to secure its sank, while I continued to sell the remaining treasure. Then came the final attempt at redemption. It had failed. As I turned in the last of the loot, I could hear the enemy sloop sinking outside. We then returned to the closest outpost to pick up yet another shipwreck voyage. At this point, the server was pretty much dead, so there's nothing really interesting going on anymore. I just wanted to take this time to thank you for sitting through my story. Narrating videos through voiceover like this is a very new concept for me, and I'd honestly love to know what you thought of it. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment if there's anything on your mind, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload my next video. Oh, and congrats on 75 with Merchant Masky. Until next time.